floor to answer the questions put to you by Parliament.
Köszönöm, elnök úr. Azt hiszem, úgy illendő, hogy néhány fontos kérdésre válaszoljak. Először is köszönöm mindannyiuknak ezt a vitát. Köszönöm, hogy figyelnek Magyarországra.
I thank you for paying attention to Hungary and for telling me your opinions. And also for those who supported our decisions. I specifically thank for those members of parliament who expressed their solidarity with Hungary. There were some Hungarian speakers. I do not want to assess the fact that some Hungarians are attacking their home country here in Brussels. I think we should have these views back home. To Mr. Verhofstadt, I have to say that it is my impression as though you would tell us Hungarians what we should do. I think you should entrust Hungarian voters to make decisions. They do so every 4 years. To Mr. Timmermans, I'd like to thank for his speech, and I thank you for offering us an open dialogue. We are ready to engage into a debate on every particular issue, and I think some of these issues will be easily resolved. I also have to respond to Mr. Pitella because I think he used a rather shrill tone when addressing me. Let me correct one of your ideas. Migrants do not want to go to Hungary. Migrants want to transit Hungary towards Austria, Germany, and Sweden instead. What we do is we protect Austria, Germany, and Sweden. We are observing the Schengen Treaty, and it's somewhat awkward that you, as a member of European Parliament, are slandering Hungary because we observe the Schengen Treaty, not primarily for our own sake, but for the sake of the Germans, Austrians, and Swedes. I think we should be rewarded for this rather than being defamed. The talks which try to instigate, try to turn the EPP against my party and myself, this is an old communist tactics. You want to slice up the EPP like a salami, as we say it in Hungary, so that you will become stronger. This is what happened in Hungary in the communist rule, and I would propose to the EPP not to accept this approach and these tactics. Our position in the migrant issue is totally clear. We have to stop illegal migration. The distinction between asylum seekers and migrants should be performed outside of the territory of the European Union, and people in trouble should be helped in the location where they are instead of bringing them into the EU. Who is not performing readmission and resettlements? Mr. Pitella, less than 10% has been resettled. It is not only Hungary which has not been participating. We only talk about 1,000 people in the Hungarian case. It is evident that the compulsory quota policy has failed. It is useless to push it further, because even countries which do not raise their voice against it like we do not implement it. If a policy has failed, you have to stop it and have to look for another solution. Let me talk about funds and finances. The money received by Hungary from the EU is not a gift. Cohesion policy is good for everyone. Every member state of the European Union benefits from the cohesion policy. Those who provide the funds are also get incomes from this. Net payers are also beneficiaries of the cohesion policy. Commissioners are openly talk about this. There are figures about this. What percentage of the funds are returned or reimbursed to the net payers? And I think it's right. We opened our markets, we dismantled our customs, and we opened our markets to capital. After the communism, we were poor as beggars. Nevertheless, we did so. I think without cohesion policy, there is no fair competition. You cannot request us, the members of parliament, to shut up, and you cannot address us as though we were be given handouts and we would be kind of on your bankroll and should behave accordingly. We cannot accept this. We have to reject such proposals. That Hungary would be an authoritarian political regime due to my personality, although we're not talking about myself but 10 million Hungarians. Let me inform you that I spent 16 years in opposition in the Hungarian parliament, and I only started my 12th year in government. And I'm one of the few European leaders who, when lost elections, did not go back to a board of trustees or back to business and do not tour the world giving lectures in universities, but we stayed in politics even when we lost elections, and we stood up for a fight in opposition, and we got back government. So if you allege us being authoritarian with such a track record, I think is not truthful. It's not fair. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot of ideas about Mr. Soros, but I don't think he has been given a stipend to anyone because he thought that by this you would buy the person's opinion for a lifetime. He never did so, and I have to reject this allegation. And you mentioned illiberal democracy. Well, as a matter of fact, in Central Europe, people believe if liberals do not win an elections, are not part of government, then there is no democracy. Well, we are fed up of this idea. Even if liberals lose elections, you still continue to have democracy in place. And liberal democracy is the one where not the liberals are in government.
Visto che il dibattito è aperto tra la Commissione e il Governo.
Given that the debate is open between